So today I'd like to talk to you about the European Parliament and how it works with its different political groups inside of the Parliament. But before I do that, I'd just like to advertise LibertyCon 2019. LibertyCon is the European Conference of European Students for Liberty. It will be held in Serbia and Belgrade from April 5th till April 7th. And so hopefully we'll all meet in Serbia. It's the greatest pro-liberty conference in Europe, so I hope to see you there. It's great for networking, it's great for partying, it's great for wonderful lectures, meeting new people, and getting to know the ideas of liberty. So the European Parliament has a system in which it operates to fund the different political groups. In order to have a political group in the European Parliament, you need to have 25 members, and they need to be from at least a quarter of the European Union member states. As you know, there's now about 750 members of the European Parliament, and they get together in groups in order to have more resources and to organize together. There's currently two big political groups in the European Parliament, which is the European People's Party, which is sort of centre-right, or centre-left if you ask me, and you have the Social Democrats. So the two big groups are known to distribute the power amongst themselves as much as they can. And if you actually look at the committee chair people and the vice president of the European Parliament, it's all really distributed between the major groups, and they hold all the power. If you have more resources, you have more resources to employ staff, to go through reports, to write up amendments, and so on and so forth. The European Parliament has a budget for the political groups. 90% of that budget goes to the big political groups, according to the amount of members of the European Parliament that are members of this group. And the rest is distributed to those small groups which have about between 20 and 30 MEPs and that are from different countries. And the smaller groups are usually the ones that are disliked by the bigger groups. For instance, you have Europe of Freedom and Direct Democracy, which is the Eurosceptic group in the European Parliament. And they are deliberately being targeted by the big groups. Now, the EPP, there was an EPP member, a Social Democrat member, sorry, with the name of Joe Leinen, who introduced an amendment on January 23rd. I'll be posting that amendment down below. And in the amendment, it said, Parliament need not normally evaluate the political affinity of members of a group unless there is a manifest evidence that this affinity may not exist. In that case, Parliament, by a majority of its component members, on a recommendation of the Conference of Presidents, may determine whether the group has been constituted according to political affinity. Now, it doesn't really give you definitions of what it means to have political affinity. But what the Social Democrats and the European People's Party, as well as the centrist group ALDE, are arguing is that you have groups which get together for the money, but they don't really work together on policy. So they don't really talk together, they don't really meet. And the truth is that groups such as the EFDD, so the Eurosceptic group, they don't vote together on key votes as well as other directives, as much as other groups. You have a loyalty to the European, to your European political group, which is, depending on your member, it can be up to like 70, 80, sometimes even 95% of the vote. And what they try to do is to defund those groups, to say you are actually not a political group because you don't abide by the political standard of political affinity that we determine. So it's completely arbitrary. It means that you give the big groups in the European Parliament the power to defund and take money away from smaller groups which respected the rules that you set in the first place. So if you ask me, this is a deliberate attempt to silence smaller groups. What I would suggest is to give no resources to political groups altogether. MEPs already make money, they already get paid for their job, so I don't really see the reason why a political group should be given more resources just because members think that they have a common political ideal. Just because you are 40 socialists doesn't mean you should receive more money than just because there's two other individuals that don't get the significant number and therefore don't get the resources. I don't think that promotes pluralism. It actually promotes people getting in with groups and identifying as a different political ideology just for the sake of it. And I don't think that's the whole purpose of it. If members want to get together in groups and argue together and pool their speaking time, which is one of the reasons why being in a group is a good idea, because you can pool speaking time and you have one representative speaking on behalf of you who has more time to speak in the parliament, that's a good idea. But that you can do independently of the money. So I would actually take the argument further and say no political group should receive any additional money in any way at all. They already have officers to have their meetings and so on. There's no reason to even fund the operation even more than necessary. But that's just my opinion. Do let me know what you think. I'll be putting some other links down below so you can check out more about what the amendment proposes and what the big groups in the European Parliament try to do, especially because they're concerned about more Eurosceptics coming into the new Parliament. So just let me know what you think, and see you next time.